Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of American Soccer Quick Kicks. I'm your host, David Wright. It's the first episode after the 2026 World Cup. How's everybody doing? How are we feeling about it? I continue to have mixed feelings about our performance. I saw a lot of positives and just really disappointed in our final game and how we played against Belgium. Have some news. It went official today that Pochettino has agreed to the contract extension, and he is now signed to be our manager through the 2030 World Cup. And I am going to give you my thoughts on that and whether I think that's good or bad or what may come of it. But first, let me get to a couple other notes. First is I hope you've enjoyed this couple of weeks of MLS returning to league play, because now one of the secondary competitions is getting ready to get back started. Leagues Cup starts tomorrow, August 4th. For those that don't know what Leagues Cup is, it is about a month-long tournament that takes place between MLS clubs and Liga MX or Liga MX clubs. That's the league in Mexico. Last year, they introduced a new format where instead of having all of MLS clubs in it, only the 18 playoff clubs from the year before. And that's conveniently matched up against the 18 total teams that Mexico has. So we're running that back. Last year's playoff teams are the ones participating in this year's Leagues Cup. So we have 18 MLS versus 18 Liga MX. And the way they've worked out the format and the grouping and everything is that we're guaranteed to have cross-league matchups until at least the quarterfinals. Like you're only going to get group stage matches against teams from the other league. And I think that first elimination round also. And so I really like that format because it maximizes these cross-league matches, which is what we want to see. When there were so many other, when the number of MLS teams outnumbered Mexico so much, we got a lot of all MLS matchups that just didn't really add a lot of new flavor to the tournament. So I'm happy to see this format come back. And I enjoy this tournament. A lot of people don't like it, and I understand why. It's kind of a new thing, and it's where it's owned by the league, and it's kind of coming at the expense of the US Open Cup, which is run by the federation. And I think when you don't have full participation from Major League Soccer, the Open Cup starts to lose a little bit of luster. I've seen some ideas flown around on the internet about what can be done to prop up both Open Cup and at the same time Leagues Cup. I don't necessarily want to get into all that right now, but I do still enjoy this tournament just because the matches we've seen in the past have been really entertaining. And I enjoy the opportunity to increase my familiarity with the Mexican club. So anyway, that's going to get started. It's going to run on Apple TV. So if you've got your MLS, if you're getting your MLS that way, then it's going to be a part of that package. So you can check that out. I do want to talk about the 2030 World Cup. It is right now, I think it's officially considered to be shared. The hosting is going to be between Spain and Portugal. The thing about the 2030 World Cup is that it is the centennial. It's the 100th anniversary of the very first World Cup, which was held, I believe, in Uruguay. It was definitely held in South America. And so what they want to do to honor that centennial is there's actually talk, I think this is official, going to have one group play in South America. So the World Cup's going to be in South America and in Europe. And so they're doing that as a way to honor the centennial and take it back to its roots. There's also talk, and I thought it was all but a done deal, that we would see a 64-team field in 2030. And if that's the case, you're definitely, that limits the number of countries that have the infrastructure to handle a tournament that big. And I think it's going to be more and more common to see more than one country as the host. There's also ripple effects there, I think, where you might see CONMEBOL and CONCACAF, which is South America and North and Central America, combining or merging in some way, because I think there's more to that. And if the 64 field starts to look like a real thing, then I can dive into it more. The reason why now I'm not so sure it's going to happen is because of all the controversy with Infantino and his attempt to sell private equity stakes in the World Cup, and that completely backfired. And it turns out it was all him. It wasn't even FIFA. It was just him. And I don't even know if he's going to keep his job. And if this 64 field idea was also from him, I don't know. It may go away. So I kind of don't want the 64 field team. Now, the advantage of it is that you don't get any third place group finishers in the elimination rounds, right? It's a very clean bracket with 64. I get it. But I just say go back to 32. I thought 32 was the ideal format for the tournament. Obviously, we don't have any control over it. I do want to get to the news with the U.S. Open Cup. Give me just a second here. So Pochettino has officially signed a contract extension, and he is going to be our manager through the 2030 World Cup, theoretically. So what do I think of that? Number one, I think generally speaking in international soccer, a manager's good for one World Cup cycle. Like I rarely see a case where they stay for a second 4-year cycle and it goes well. It certainly has never gone well for us whenever we've tried that in the past. But I kind of like this if I got one string attached to that. I do like this extension if one condition happens, and I'll get to it in just a second. Why am I okay with it this time? Well, because we didn't get a full 4-year cycle with Pochettino. He came in very late. He was having to do things at breakneck speed. And I think we saw a lot of positive development from him. And I think that Paraguay game in the World Cup exemplifies exactly what he's been trying to build toward and install. And I think, and maybe I'm reading into this, but I think maybe he is encouraged by the fact that he was starting to see it click for the team, and he wants to see that continue. So to give him an opportunity to have a full 4-year cycle to truly manage this team in the way that he would like to in a normal situation, give him that opportunity. Let's see how well we're playing in 2030. Is that what we saw against Paraguay? Is that going to be the new normal that we're able to get to here very shortly? Also, I'm encouraged by the young crop of players that are coming up very quickly for America. I think we're going to see a lot of exciting new kids to keep our eye on. You can go out there, just search YouTube for American prospects, the up and comers. You'll see a couple of names I'm keeping an eye on. One is Kevin Sullivan, who plays in MLS right now. I don't think he's going to stay there long. He's a teenager playing in Philadelphia. There's also Mathis Albert, which I've been seeing a lot of highlights for him. He plays internationally. Just a couple of names, and as we go through this cycle, and as these names are introduced, I'm going to be your tour guide. We're going to go through this together, and we're going to cover all the new developments and the new players I introduced. The core 3 players of Pulisic, Adams, and McKennie, they're all going to be over 30 in the next World Cup. They're going to be 31. They can still play. But I'm also thinking, maybe now we shift to building the team around Balogun and Tillman and Richards, folks that were all younger and were starring for us in this year's World Cup. And to be honest, as much as I love those guys, Pulisic, Adams, and McKennie, there is a track record of shrinking in the big moments and not delivering on the big day. We had so many people watching this team for that Belgium match, and we laid an absolute egg. And there was an opportunity there to really advance the sport, and I think they really blew it. So I'm kind of losing confidence in those guys as the stars that are going to step up when you need them to step up. And now they're going to be on the other side of 30. I think we start building around Balogun, Tillman, and Richards, and we start bringing in some of these new guys and taking a look at them and go from there. So I am positive about the 2030 World Cup. And I'm positive about this Pochettino signing and here's my condition, if he stays. I am not convinced that he is really going to stay all the way through the next World Cup. I think he wants to be in England or wants to be in Europe, managing a club side. And right now, those offers, I guess they dried up. Either the vacancies that were out there got filled, or maybe he lost a little bit of buzz with the way we played against Belgium. But anyway, he's going to stay put for now. The question is, when an English Premier League team comes calling here in the next year or two, Is he going to say no to that? Is he going to stick? Is he going to fill out this contract? I hope he's fully committed for the next 4 years. And I think if he is, I think we have tremendous upside. I remain a little bit skeptical about that. Anyway, what's next for the U.S. men's team? The next window is at the end of September. We're now combining the September and October windows. It's going to straddle the change of months there. And it's going to be a little bit of a longer window. We're actually have an opportunity to play 4 matches during that window. And I think it's crucial that we have our permanent manager in place in time for that longer window, because it's an opportunity to spend more time with your guys. International managers have very limited amount of time with their teams. This is an opportunity to spend a little bit of extended time. We can play up to 4 matches. I don't think anybody is scheduled yet, so I don't know how it's going to go. And Pochettino's in place for it, so I'm excited about that. It's going to be interesting to see who gets called in. I think that's all that I have for it. I will say this, 2027 World Cup qualifying begins already. Next year, qualifying begins. So this, the World Cup never really stops. And it's a 2-year cycle for qualification, and we're going to have to qualify. We're going to have to get our way through qualification for this next tournament. So anyway, the journey begins. The journey for 2030 starts right now. But if Pochettino will stay on board, if he'll see his contract out, I am optimistic about what the future can bring. I look forward to see what new blood will make its way into the program. So, folks, look, check out this Leagues Cup, okay? This is a weird MLS season because of the tremendous, I think it was like 2 months that we didn't play any games at all because of the World Cup. And now we got this Leagues Cup coming on. And it's next season, next spring, we're going to play a little sprint season, a little 14-week season, just to bridge the gap for us to change over into the new calendar. And so we're in a weird time for the league right now. And maybe you don't want to get like bogged down in following the week-to-week results and trying to keep up with the league when it's just such in a state of transition. Okay. Put all that aside, and guess what? Just focus on the Leagues Cup. All right, here's a month-long tournament, USA versus Mexico. Just check out those games, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. That's going to do it for me for now. Look, when we have roster announcements, when we have news with the U.S. men's team, I will be back here. Plan to spend these next 4 years with me. Let's go through this journey together between now and the 2030 World Cup, so that by the time that hits, we're going to be very familiar with the team and very familiar with the players. It's kind of fun to have that familiarity and to see them become briefly celebrities, briefly in the national spotlight, where suddenly everybody you meet has an opinion about Christian Pulisic or something. Follow this team with me. Keep watching some soccer, and I will talk to you next time on Quick Kicks.